Hello, happy Monday, everyone. Welcome to my wonderful listeners of the Word of the Week. Today is a very special day. We have an awesome, very inspirational guest with us today. But before I present him to you or introduce him, I would like to begin with his favorite scripture, which says Psalm 30, verse 2. O Lord my God, I cried to you for help, and you restored my health. And this is the scripture, this is Master Angel Rojas' favorite Bible verse. And after today's interview, you will know why. Master Angel teaches Taekwondo and Jiu Jitsu at 24-hour fitness in Indio, California, and his academy is the only one that offers both styles of martial arts. And he is really an icon of inspiration, of motivation, and he teaches great values of effort and discipline to his students. My son Leonardo currently takes Taekwondo with him Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays. And the amount of how can I say, learning that has been taken and just how my son has grown is amazing since he has been in his class. So, and I'm sure that many parents from our east part of the valley in India feel the same way. That his teaching goes beyond martial arts. It goes beyond just the principles of martial arts. It teaches great values for their lives and for their upbringing. So, with nothing else, I will go ahead and bring in to you our special guest for today, Mr. Angel Rojas. Welcome.
Good morning. It's a
Good
pleasure to be on
morning.
your show. Thank you for having me.
Yes, it's a blessing for me to have you here and a pleasure at the same time. You are a good representation of um, of discipline, of passion. You instill so much passion in your students, and when I see you teaching your students, I want to take notes. You know? I want to take notes because I am a public school teacher for Coachella Valley Unified School District, and anyway, I see how well like the students they just listen to you and just absorb everything that you teach them, everything that you are commanding them to do, and every step that that you're showing them for their practice. Um, this degree of discipline that I see happening, it's amazing. And they're just sitting there quietly, listening very carefully to you. And it's a large class. It's at least 30 students. How many students are in my son's class?
Uh, on the books, there's about 40 students in his class alone,
Right.
and then
Yes, that's
that's
what I thought. At least 30. I'm like, that's a
yeah,
large class to
yeah,
manage.
yeah. So right now,
Yes.
in that class, we have about 40 students in his class. Some are on vacation right now for the summer.
Right. Right. And before we, so thank you again, Mr. Rojas, for being with us today and for being just a great representation of of discipline, of effort, of just having passion for attaining your goals in life.
Well, I
And
appreciate that. Thank you.
and before I begin with my first question, I would like to play about a 1 minute video that my husband produced, and I think that this video is a must see. So I hope that you enjoy. I will remove us from the screen so that way I can play it. Wow, that is a that
Thank
really
you, guys. That
deserves
was amazing.
definitely clap and everything. It's very. They say a picture says 1,000 words, and in this case, it's this video just sums it so well. Like just everything that the wonderful job that you're doing with these students of yours, how you inspire them, how you motivate them so much to try their best, nothing
Absolutely.
but their best. So I'm gonna go. What do you think about the video, Mr.
I
Rojas? Did
think it
you
was
like it?
great. I mean, the everything that you put together, it puts a smile. I like now it's putting a smile on my face because I remember all those, every moment, every picture. It always
Mhm.
it brings me back to how I felt when it was actually happening, and just to have videos and footage of that stuff, it just keeps bringing a smile on my face. It makes me feel good inside, and I appreciate all that you and your husband, your entire family, what you guys do for our program as well as our martial arts family in general. So thank you guys so much.
Nice, nice. Well, that leads to my first question here. So, in the article that I in the article that I wrote about how Rojas Taekwondo started, and also the podcast that I released a week ago, last week. Um, so I didn't go into detail about how when you were a young boy, and because of your parents divorcing, you had to move to some low-income apartments in India.
Right.
As a result of this, you described to me how the neighborhood boys used to treat you and your twin brothers as punching bags, quote unquote. As we know, sadly nowadays, that still happens, and not just on a physical level, but kids bully other kids on a psychological level with their words. You know, words are powerful. They're very
Absolutely.
powerful. They can either make you or break you, right?
Right.
So and that has caused so much harm to our children and youth to the point where some of them do not want to go to school or fall into like a depression, you know. So that is why now in schools we have to teach students bullying prevention strategies and social emotional learning, uh, besides the curriculum, you know, the math and the reading and everything else. We have to teach them that. So what word of advice would you give these children and teenagers that are victims of bullying and don't know how to deal with it?
Um, I mean, just to start off with, the situation with
Mm,
bullying and society it's far. I think it's far worse now. When I was a child,
mhm.
it was more
Yes.
of a school of hard knocks, where
Mm,
physical confrontations were imminent. However, the amount of talking bad about someone or making fun of them, it didn't travel as fast. So it took a little while to either get back to you or get to other people.
mhm,
So that emotional damage didn't happen as fast. Now we have
mm,
the internet, and we have every child has a phone, and the information, be it negative, that gets passed around to everyone is within seconds, as fast as you can type, and it affects you because that information, be false, whether it may be false, it goes out to thousands of people, if not millions of people in an instant. So, I think the effects
mhm,
now of bullying are just like you said, socially, emotionally, are far greater than they were when we were children.
mhm,
I'm 43, and
mhm.
I
I
remember,
agree.
yeah, I remember, going through what I went through with my brothers and the kids around our area. But I look back on it and I'm like, it's not, it wasn't as bad as it is now. And the
Mhm,
back then, the way, I grew up with, a single mother for a short period of time, uh, a hardworking single mother. My brothers and I were latchkey
mhm,
kids, where we were basically alone from 7 in the morning until 6 o'clock at night. And that was just due to my
mhm,
mother working so many hours. So when it came to handling certain situations, it was one of those things where you had to go out and handle it yourself. And and these
mhm.
days, there's only so much that parents can do. There's only so much that the individual can do because of the social media and the footprint that it leaves on these kids. What I
Yes.
what I recommend them doing is, and it's an unfortunate thing too, is that a lot of kids, the damage, it only grows, and it ferments when they hold it in. They don't tell anyone anything because they're
Mhm,
scared. They're scared. They know they don't feel that anything is going to get handled, at the next level, in which some cases it doesn't, unfortunately. You know,
Mm-hmm.
my best recommendation is talk to someone, go to someone,
Mm-hmm.
you know, not just one person. If one person doesn't help, then go to the next person. If that person doesn't help, you just
Mm-hmm.
keep going until, you know, you find some form of resolve. You know, like I said back in the day, it was, hey, you go out there and you handle it yourself, and you know, if you have to get physical, then you get physical. But times are different. You know, times are different now.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what I recommend is these kids have to say something, ask for help. If they can't get that help at that instant, you know, they need to go and
Mm-hmm.
keep searching for it, because if they hold it in, it's only going to get worse. You know, and then those people who are
Mm-hmm.
bullied end up becoming bullies themselves, and it's a
That's
never
true.
ending cycle. You know,
Mm-hmm.
we tell our students, you know, it's like, you know, if you have an issue with someone, you have to resolve it there and then. You know, we talk about it, we work it out. We're friends. We're all brothers and sisters in our dojo. And if you have an issue with someone, we need to take care of it right now. Not let it grow, not let it
Mm-hmm.
get
Don't let
worse.
it linger.
Yeah, because
Mm-hmm.
when you let it linger,
Mm-hmm.
it only becomes it sometimes it
Worse.
snowballs into
Mm-hmm.
something you can't take care of. You know, so I tell these kids,
Mm-hmm.
you know, you treat everyone how you want to be treated. You know,
Exactly.
if you're a victim of a
Mm-hmm.
bully, then
Mm-hmm.
that bully needs to be talked to. We need to find out, why is that person a bully, because I can guarantee you they were not born a bully. They were made a bully. And
Mm-hmm.
that goes with
Right.
every bully out
Life
there, whether
circumstances.
absolutely. And we all have
Mm-hmm.
life circumstances. Some are greater than others.
Mm-hmm.
However, there's always a solution to something that's going on. And when it comes to bullying or anything in that nature,
Mm-hmm.
you know, I tell these children, I said, you know what? We don't train bullies here. You know, I train you to take care of yourself. I
Mm-hmm.
train you to discipline yourself, and to, you know, to be the bigger person, whether it be, you know, emotionally, physically, you know, whatever the factors are involved. But go and tell someone. You know, don't just hold it in and
Mm-hmm.
let it get worse. You know,
Right.
unfortunately, a lot of kids are
Mm-hmm.
scared. They fear saying anything because of the
Mm-hmm.
repercussions. And
Right.
you know, you have to stand up, whether it's not
Yes.
physically or verbally. You have to stand up and
Mm-hmm.
say something,
Right.
because it's only going to get worse if you let it continue to happen.
Yes,
So
I agree with you 100%. One of the teachings that I try to instill to my students also is based on Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., who always preached about not fighting with your fists but with your words. Talk yourself out of things, and also so that's when the words come into words are powerful, you know. So yes, communicating to someone, go to the nearest adult that you trust, right?
right,
Communicate with that adult, and that adult will help you go through the steps of dealing with this, right?
right.
So now, um, the next question that I have for you, and thank you so much for this insight, it's very good. And I had forgotten about the cyberbullying, which is like very, you
Yeah,
said it comes so fast now with the whole, you know, internet and everything. So thanks for touching on that. I had kind of missed out, but I'm glad that you mentioned it. So, second question is, you chose a very heartfelt and motivational, which I'm not surprised that you did, scripture from the Bible, which is Psalm 30, verse 2. Why is
yes.
this your favorite Bible scripture?
I mean, it stemmed from when I was a child. I mean, you
Mm-hmm.
knew about some of the way I grew up with, you know, living in a certain area with the divorced parents. And one thing that I found uh, as at a young age was the church. I found the church when I was a freshman in high school, I believe, which is a little late for some, but for most teenagers, for them to find the church as a teenager is
Mm-hmm.
doesn't really happen too often. You know, luckily for
Mm-hmm.
me, I was introduced to the church, reintroduced to the church, and I began going to Our Lady of Perpetual Help in Indio,
Mm-hmm.
and I ended up becoming a part of a youth group that were a bunch of my friends from school. And so it wasn't one of those things where, oh, that's not cool to be in a youth group. All of our friends were in the same youth group, you know, and it was great. It was a way of feeling, you know, connected with your friends in a
Mm-hmm.
different emotional way, rather than just
Mm-hmm.
school, sports, and partying.
Mm-hmm.
We were all kind of lost, and we all found
Mm-hmm.
each other as well as the Lord and the church in this youth group. My father Rafael Partida, ended up becoming my godfather, and a lot having that happen, I got to sit down with him a lot. I became a vice president of our youth group. I was an altar server. All those things that you don't see too many teenagers doing.
Mm-hmm.
My friends and I were doing. So we got really involved with the church, and having those
Mm-hmm.
conversation with Father Rafael Partida, I was able to talk to him about stuff I couldn't talk to anyone else about, and he
Mm-hmm.
always had the right stuff to tell me. He knew I would only say certain things in front of our friends, so he would always take me to the side, take me to
Right.
breakfast,
Mm-hmm.
or just have a conversation with me about certain things, because he knew I was trying to, so to speak, save face amongst my cool friends, but he knew there was a lot I had to talk about. So when it came to verses and whatnot, he shared a lot with me, on a different level.
Mm-hmm.
He
On a
explained.
spiritual level,
Absolutely,
which.
absolutely. So it opened me up to certain scriptures and
Mm-hmm.
verses, and only a very few couple. I mean, honestly, only a couple really stuck with me. And I remembered one instant. I was going through some really troubling times as a teenager, and not so much as physically, just emotionally. And Father Raphael, I had gone to him for advice, and
Mm-hmm.
waiting for him to just break it all down for me. He simply just told me. He goes, "Tell it to God." He goes,
Bring it up to God. Yes.
tell it to God. And I was
Mm-hmm.
I was kind of taken back a little, because I was expecting him to be the
Mm-hmm.
one who breaks. And he told me, he said, take it to God, explain it to him,
Mm-hmm.
and he will help you. And
Yes.
yeah, I went, I prayed, and things worked out. I didn't ask
Mm-hmm.
for much. I just said I just needed some help. Don't
Mm-hmm.
fix the situation. Just, I need help, and it worked,
Mm-hmm.
and that always stuck with me. During my time as a teenager, my time in the Marine Corps, overseas in combat,
Mm-hmm.
or even just in life in general, as a young adult, a father, a husband. I asked for help, and no matter
Mm-hmm.
what, no matter what, it always, as cliche as it sounds, it
Mm-hmm.
it it always happened. It always worked out. Not right there and then, but it did. So that always stuck with me. That always stuck
Mm-hmm.
with me. Whenever I was in a situation that I could not figure out, or I thought was going to be horrible, uh, I got on my knees and I prayed about it, and I asked,
Mm-hmm.
please help me, and it helps, and he helped.
Oh, yes, it does.
It
Yes, and
helped.
it says in Jeremiah, in the book of Jeremiah, that when you get down on your knees and you put your needs before God, He listens to you. And
Absolutely.
then He says, I will show you greater things that you haven't seen yet. Right?
I
And
agree
He has
100%.
plans for you to prosper you. And look how God is prospering you now. It's amazing.
Absolutely.
Like,
Absolutely.
now that you tell me this anecdote, it's like it puts it all together. It
Yeah,
really does. Look how God is blessing you so much with
he's
giving
blessed
you
me,
the privilege, to
and
teach students.
yeah, he's blessed me in more ways than I deserve. And I'm being honest, I don't deserve everything that I have, but I am grateful for everything that I have, because I know if it wasn't for him, I would not be where I'm at today. Even it's funny as it
Wow,
sounds, even
amazing.
as a child
Mm-hmm.
going through the bullying, and I mean, we were getting in fights all the time, getting beat up, not so much as fights, but getting beat up. And we would have resentment. It's like, oh, if there
Mm-hmm.
is God, why is he letting me get beat up? Or, why are we poor? Why this? Why that? And then I look back on it, I'm like, if that didn't happen, I would not have what I have today. So yeah,
Yes,
yeah, it is.
yes. So
There's a plan.
everything,
There's a plan.
it was in God's divine plan for
I,
your life.
I believe
Wow.
it. I believe it.
This takes me to my next. I know this was not part of the script as we
Oh, by
talked
all
before the
means.
interview, but I just feel in my heart I can't leave this out. I just can't let it not come to light. It's very important that our audience that are watching and listening hear the answer to this. Why did it take you 15 years to complete your jiu-jitsu black belt? I have in my notes here that belt being the hardest and most difficult and most effective martial arts that you had ever trained in, the Brazilian jiu-jitsu, and that alone took you 15 years
Yeah.
and to attain. And later on, it says right here that you had been teaching at such a young age for so many different instructors for so many years, and you were able to take the like all the good from each one of them. Like, I'll take this teaching from this one. I take this teaching from this instructor, and then you were able to just use it to your learning, to your growth, and then you realize that every student is different. Every
Absolutely.
student has their own unique reason for wanting to train, and that you try to focus on the individual student, and that is so powerful. It really is. I just thought, I'm getting goosebumps just from reading these notes. It's very powerful because that's how it is in teaching in school as well. I can't treat every student the same way in my classroom because every student has their own background. Every student has it's their own self, and I cannot treat them the same because they have their own needs that have to be met and fulfilled. So that's why I thought that this is has to be something that we have to bring into light.
Right.
So why did it? You're teaching, your class and adults. You're teaching me, also that with hard work you can accomplish things and you don't give up. Like I was sharing with you earlier, it took me 7 years to get my master's degree in the Spanish language, and have that experience and for my teaching and my overall professional growth. But it took you 15 years, and I thought, oh, that's double of what I did. So I'm like, wow, that's amazing. Like he's stuck with. Why was it so challenging to do this Brazilian jiu-jitsu black belt?
Well, for starters, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, I mean, it hasn't been in the Valley more than 30 years. And that sounds like a long time, but in the Valley's existence of martial arts, 30 years is not very long at all. Yeah, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu did not exist when I was a child here in the States.
Mm-hmm.
And when I got all my other black belts, um, I was teaching at a location where my professor now, who's a fourth degree black belt in Jiu-Jitsu, he was also teaching. And when I would leave, he would come in and teach jujitsu. So I would see these guys coming in, and mind you, I was already a black belt in martial taekwondo. I would see these guys come in, and I would see them, go at it. And I'm like, this is something I've never seen before. What they're doing, I've
Mm-hmm.
never seen. And I've been around the martial arts since I was 7, and I had never seen it before. And then the UFC came out, the Ultimate Fighting Championship came out, and a black belt by the name of Hoist Gracie. He was only 180 pounds, and he was going against these 200,
Mm-hmm.
300-pound monsters. And he's a very frail looking man. He was beating these guys, and no one
Wow.
saw that coming. Yeah. So I was like, okay, if this little man is defeating these monsters, this is something that, yeah. So one night I finally, I went and talked to that professor. I said, Professor Ernie, I go, if you don't mind, I'd like to try training. And, very smugly, he said, well, come in and just see what you got. And I remember I went in,
Mm-hmm.
and at the time I was probably about 165 pounds. Well, this 130-pound little skinny guy tied me up, and he just tied me up like a pretzel, submitted me time after time, and he was
Mm-hmm.
a white belt, and I was already a black belt in other martial arts. And that's when Professor Estrada pretty much said, he goes, all those other belts don't mean anything if you cannot take care of
Mm-hmm.
yourself on the ground. And from that day, I was
Mm-hmm.
hooked. I kept training. I was addicted to it. Just everything, the
Mm-hmm.
philosophy behind it, the lineage behind it, how hard it is mentally and physically to do. With
Mm-hmm.
jujitsu, unlike a lot of other martial arts, you can train 5 days a week, every day for 10 years, and still
Mm-hmm.
not get your black belt. It takes a very, very long time because of how technical it is. It takes a very, very long
Mm-hmm.
time. So, that's why a lot of people, they covet the black belt in jiu-jitsu so much, because, it's a 1%er thing. One out of 1,000 practitioners will get that black belt. And, it takes a
Mm-hmm.
very long time. Your first belt, it takes you at least 2 years. At a good school, it takes you 2 years to get your first belt. So a lot of
Oh
people,
wow,
yeah,
two
when they get
years.
two
That's
years, that's
commitment right
that's
there.
how it should be. And
Mm-hmm.
yeah, so a lot of people quit after that first belt. You know, no, it's just it's a fact. It's a fact. It's just
Mm-hmm.
it's how it is. And
Wow.
yeah, I kept training, and I took a couple of years off of training when my daughter was born, eh, just to be a good dad. I wanted to be there for her, and so
Mm.
that hindered my training. And then I got back into it when the time was right. It takes not only 15
Mhm.
years just for the training that you need to be able to qualify as a black belt, but dealing with family, finances,
Yes.
your
Yes.
your physical and emotional state.
Mm.
Your body takes a
Mhm.
beating. You know,
I totally understand what you're talking about or where you're
yeah.
coming from.
So yeah, all of
Yes.
those are factors,
Mhm.
and it takes a very long time to get
Mhm.
anywhere with that. But I've
And
seen
also, if you want to do it to the best of your ability, right? You don't
even
want to
even
do
yeah.
mediocre job. You want to do the best of you. Of you, like
Well,
you want to give it your best.
they say the mat where we train, the mat doesn't lie. You can say you are who you are, but on the mat does not
It's
lie. So
like walk
you
the
have
talk.
to exactly. You have to
Mhm.
you have to put in that work. And
Mhm.
luckily for me, I have a great instructor, great crew, great family, great team, and it helped me to accomplish that and get that last black belt, which I hold truly dear to my heart. And, I started with my
Mhm.
instructor, and I got my black belt from that man, and that was one of my
Mhm.
life goals, was to do that with him, and it all worked out where I get to work
Mhm.
with him now. We work together now
Oh.
for the adults, and
Mhm.
and I tell all the kids and I tell all the other adults, it doesn't matter how old you are, how much you weigh, skinny, whatever, it
Yes,
doesn't
you can
matter.
do it.
You can do it. It's
Yes.
possible. Family,
Yes.
jobs, it's possible.
Mhm. You
So yeah,
instill in them that champion mentality.
absolutely.
And that is powerful. That is so powerful for children, for anybody really. I mean for me too. Um, for you inspire me as well. So yes, that champion mentality that no matter what, you can, with hard work, with discipline, and put the passion into it, you can accomplish your goals and your
Absolutely.
dreams and aspirations. So I have a comment here from one of our viewers. It says his class is so amazing. I recommend it to any parents that are looking for something positive for their kids to do. I totally agree with that. Totally agree with that.
Thank you,
And
Cybermax.
thank you. Yes, thank you, Cybermax. So now that's going to lead us to the next question. So, also in the article or the audio reflection, I didn't mention your mentors. So, who were your number one mentors growing up? I know that the father that you mentioned, Partida, was that his last name?
Yes.
So he was also, would you say, a mentor in your life? But
Yes.
who were, like, would you say also were your lead mentors as you were growing up?
As I was growing up, I mean, I had quite a few. Being without my dad for a while, you seek that from other people. Um,
Mm-hmm.
one influential person was my uncle Maurice. He was a black belt also, and he got me started, and really helped me to understand, um, work hard. Hard work pays off. Another person is my mom married my stepfather Ruben Cirlos, who I consider my dad. I mean, he's been around since I was a little boy. He took in a single mom with 3 kids, and he was also a Marine. He taught my brothers and I how to be men. How to take responsibility, how to
Mm-hmm.
do what you need to do. His
That's awesome.
discipline, yeah, he
Mm-hmm.
basically taught us how to be men, and he was
Mm-hmm.
he was huge in my upbringing.
And this is your
Um,
uncle, you said, right?
my uncle and then my stepdad, Ruben.
Oh, your
Yeah, my
stepdad. Okay.
uncle. Yeah, he's always been there for
Mm-hmm.
me. But quite honestly, the most influential people, surprisingly, would be my 2 younger brothers.
Mm-hmm.
People, they don't understand how that's possible, but my younger brothers are only about a year and a half younger than me, and they're twins.
Mm-hmm.
And they've always needed me there as that father figure, as that big brother figure. And as much as they needed me there, I needed them. We all
Mm-hmm.
took care, we all comforted each other. We were basically each other's bodyguards and role models. My brothers, they had a harder upbringing than I did. I separated from my mom's house when I got to around 8th grade, and I started to live with my grandmother just so that I can stay
Mm-hmm.
in this valley while my brothers and they moved away. So those guys, they had it pretty hard. They didn't have all the amenities or the people to look up to like I did for that short period of time. And I saw them, what they went through, and it inspired me. It was like, hey, you have these tools, you need to do something positive with them, because your
Mm-hmm.
brothers, they don't have that, and their lives are they're struggling, they're hurting, and they're
Mm-hmm.
still being, they're still fighting the odds. So,
Mm-hmm.
I use them as an example of what I need to do and what I need to get done. And I mean, since we were children, these two boys, men now, Joe and Alfonso Rojas, my brothers, um,
Mm-hmm.
they have always supported me. They've always had my back. They've also always been the two
Mm-hmm.
to kind of ground me if I got ahead of myself. And I don't give them too many shout outs ever. And this is probably one of the first that I'm doing publicly. But if it wasn't for those two guys, I would not have what I have. I wouldn't have been pushed.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't have been pushed to work as hard to get what I wanted, or to get where I'm at, to be where I am, if it wasn't for those two. And I love you guys both. And I don't give them enough credit, and that's just because I'm the big brother
Oh,
trying to be hard on them all the time. But if it wasn't for those two, and my mom's dedication on trying her hardest to give us everything that we needed,
that's wonderful.
I wouldn't be where I'm at. So yeah, those
Mm-hmm.
two guys, my brothers, are my biggest inspiration, even though
Inspiration.
they're younger than me.
And
They're
you are to them as well, I'm sure. And
Yeah,
you
they tell
probably
me that.
inspire
Yeah,
them
yeah, they
and
tell me
motivate
that.
them to
But
be better each day. And
yeah,
it's powerful what you're representing. What you're representing to your brothers, to my son Leonardo, who's our pop-up surprise guest here. Come here, Leonardo. So Leonardo is
what's up, buddy?
cur- Leonardo's currently taking come over here. He's currently taking classes with Master Angel, and he started a few months ago, practicing Taekwondo. So, Leonardo, what have you learned so far in your class with Master Angel?
I have been learning
Face.
I've been learning kicks and back kick, back kicks, um, and the spin kick. And when we spar, a headshot is worth 3 points, and a spin kick is worth 2 points.
Oh,
There you
And
go.
yeah, I love this class because when we spar, Master Angel makes sure to correct me, and I appreciate that, and I'm very thankful that I have been taught this class, and
does this class encourage you to take jiu-jitsu now?
yeah,
You're gonna be challenged with take the next challenge now?
yes,
Wow.
Outstanding,
So
outstanding.
he is a living example here of how you're inspiring not just him, but our whole new generation, our future leaders of this valley, and that might go out of the valley to just represent so many great values, of effort, of discipline, and passion to pursue your dreams and aspirations. That's awesome. So, are any last words that you want to say to Master Angel?
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Master Angel, for teaching me this class, and I love it, and I will try jujitsu. I will try jujitsu because I do want to learn how to wrestle and taekwondo because I wanna be like you because you know jujitsu and taekwondo.
Well,
Oh,
you keep working,
wow, that
buddy.
deserves a clap.
Yes, you keep
Very
working, man.
inspirational words. Wow, that's amazing.
You keep
And
working, you're
for
gonna be better than me, buddy.
oh,
Mm-hmm.
though you didn't probably get to hear that. He said to keep working and you're gonna get better. Okay,
I want
and
to hear that.
you want to hear that? Okay.
I said, buddy, if you keep working, you're gonna be better than me.
Oh, okay.
Just work hard, and never give up.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll see you in class tonight.
Okay. When is jujitsu?
That's tomorrow.
Okay, we will talk about that later. Okay, Leo? All right. Okay. All right. So thank you, Leo, for your encouraging words, and you're also motivating our young generation in the Valley too. So anyway, thank you so much, Master Angel, for joining us today. And thank you for participating as a guest and for being an inspiration to our Coachella Valley community.
Well,
We
thank
really
you.
appreciate you.
I appreciate you having me and everything that you do, and you're doing God's work, and it's growing, and it's impressive, and I'm happy for you and your entire family, and thank you guys for the continued support. We appreciate it.
And we appreciate you greatly. God bless you.
God bless
And
you.
may God continue to bless you greatly, just like He has been so far. And what was I going to say? So also, I would like to replay for those of you that didn't get to see the video, the wonderful video that I played at the beginning of this interview. I'm going to replay it right now as we exit so that you can watch it. And we will be also sharing it in our YouTube channel so that you can enjoy it and just see the wonderful impact that Master Angel is having in our Coachella Valley community. Thank you
Thanks
for
again.
watching, everyone. God bless you. And don't forget to listen to today's Word of the Week. It comes out at 3 p.m. And I will be reciting my latest poem called Who Shall Ascend to the Mountain of the Lord? That's what I titled it. And you don't want to miss it. So make sure that you listen to this Words of the Week, this Word of the Week. Thanks again, Master Angel, for
Thank you
joining
guys.
me.
I'll see you guys later. Take care.